Hello and welcome to lesson 1 of week 11. In this lesson, we are going to look at forms in React. My name is Mildred. We are going to use a case study creating a student portal for registration to illustrate this. Now, we have seen how we create forms in HTML, but in React, it differs from the plain HTML because React controls the input directly and we use state to control this. Now, when you control this input state directly with React, it is called controlled component pattern. So React is always the single source of truth for every field value. Now, when we talk about controlled component, mean an input whose value is driven by React state rather than by the document object model. So every keystroke update that happens and the input renders with the state as its value. So we want to avoid putting, like when we do an input field like this, let's say input equal to text. So we want to avoid creating an input like this because when we do it like this, the document object model owns the value. But when it's a controlled component, we don't define it like this. Okay, so let's look at how we create a form and define the form state as a single object in React. So we'll say we want to create a registration form that will have the field for the name, the email, maybe the student's ID, the program, password, something like that. The first thing we want to do is to create initial form state. Now I have this main.jxs here that I imported register from components. So I created a components directory and I have a register.jsx. So I'm going to be creating my form here. So I just do it this way to export default function register. So this register is the component that we are exporting here. Now let's use state. I will define the initial state for the registration form, and the initial state is to set all the string to empty. So I'll say constant, let's say initial state. Now we have full name and I'll set it to empty. I'll set the email to empty. I'll set the student ID to empty. I'll set the program to empty. And I will set the password to empty. And then let's do a confirm password to empty. Now we have all of this initial state set to empty. And this just use everything as a single object. We can also have one state object for all the fields. So I can use state, initial state like this. So what I will do is to say, let me create one state object for this. So I'll say constant form data, set form data is equal to use state, initial state like this. So this uses one state object, and I did it like this because using one object is cleaner than having 6 separate use state calls, and it will scale better as the form grows. So just use this once. Now we can also have a generic onChange handler. So if there is a change to the form name or the value, we want to have a handler for it, and for this we use events. So names of the form fields are going to be the property name, right? So one handler will now update any field that matches the input name attribute. Let me write this so it will make sense. So let's say I want to have one generic handler. I will say constant, let me create this as a function, constant handle change like this. Then I will say the name value will be either target like this, and then I'm going to set form data to be this like this. So we're going to use this and you understand this. So this is going to use the property name. It will update any field by matching the input name attribute. So whatever the value of the name attribute is for the input. So when we have this previous data like this value, name value here, it copies all the existing fields and it only overwrites the one that is changed. Now another thing we want to look at in the next step is the validation errors that we want to store in state. Now it might look difficult because I'm going from the back to the front. We don't have the form yet, but we are creating all the handlers. The first one we did was to create an initial form state as a single object, and then we now had one state object for all of these initial values, and then we did the change handler. So every time that the value in the input field changes, this is what we use to copy all the existing field and only overwrite the changed one. And now the next thing we want to do is to have validation errors, and we want to store them in. So we can actually use one state to set errors. So let's say, let me do this constant state. And let's get the error here. So let's validation error, use state, and we want to validate now. We'll get all new errors will be an empty set. So let's put const new errors is an empty set. And then we want to say that if the form data, so for each of the form fields, we have full name, email, student ID, program, password, confirm password. So we want to say if the full name is empty, right? If it's empty, we want to say full name is required. Then we want to look at the email too. If the email is not valid or doesn't match a pattern, we want to say the user should enter a valid email, and then give a pattern for the student ID. And then we want to make the program required. We want to make the password, maybe set minimum of 8 characters for the password, and we want the confirm password to match, something like that. So let's say if the form data.fullname.trim is empty, then we'll say new errors.fullname. So we're going to append a new error here, is full name is required. Now, if the form data and if the email is empty, email is required. And if it's not empty, we want to match the pattern of an email. This is the pattern, and to tell the user invalid email format. Now we want to do that for the student ID. We want to have maybe a pattern to match for the student ID. So let's create a pattern for the student ID. Let's say if not form data the student ID trim. Let's do dot match here. Let's match a pattern, not match. Let's say we want the ID to start with STU, as in student, the first 3 characters. Then we want it to add 5 digits. So we'll do the pattern like this. We want it to match a pattern. We want the first 3 to be STU, and then we want it to have digits, and the digits must be 5 digits after the STU. And I think this is how it should look like. So the student ID must be in the format, please. Okay. Then we want to do for program. The program is required if it's not there. Password, let's make password minimum of, let's say 6 characters, and then confirm password should match. So this is how we do the error state. So now we've done this, and the next thing we want to do is to do the submit handler when the form is submitted. Now note that we have not even created the form yet. We're just creating all the handlers before we do that. So for the submit handler now, we are going to try to prevent default. Every time you click the submit button, you want default behavior of the form element not to happen. And so we'll have a handle submit function, and then we want to make sure that it prevents the full page reload, and then it calls the validation errors and validates all of the form fields, and then it's maybe clears all the errors when it submits, or submits it to the console, or let's do something like that, and then we'll now return the form. So let's do the submit handler before we now do the form. So here I'll put handle submit, and we want to prevent a default behavior. So we'll say, and we want to call the validation error. We want it to validate the input, and then we want to, if all of the validation has been done correctly, then we want to set all of the errors to be validation error, and then we submit the form. Okay, but now we don't want to submit. Let's just stop submission and put return or something like that. I'm going to do that and put return. Let me remove this else. I'll just return. I don't want it to submit. We're just trying out something. Okay, so maybe we'll do this. Registration successful alert. Now we have done the submit handler, and I want to now return the form. So here we're going to put the HTML elements that we're going to be returning. So we'll say return. Now we'll design the form. So if you are confused, you can start with doing the form first, and then coming above it to create all of the helper functions that you need and all of the states. Now in the next lesson, we're going to look at the advanced hooks, where we'll see, instead of using use state multiple times, we'll see all those other advanced features of React that we can use to make our forms even better. So now we want to have a form. Remember that when you are returning a component, you must have one parent element. And so let's wrap this in a div, and I'll close div here. So we return this, and I want to create the form. So once the submit button is clicked, the event on submit, we want it to handle submit. And so the handle submit here is to prevent the default behavior, call the validation errors, display the error and everything there. That's what we want there. Okay, so now we already have this, and so Copilot will help me write it, so I'll be fast since I already defined them above there. So when you use Copilot or any of those code completion stuff, you have to ensure that whatever you have written is correct. Now let's go over it. Now on submit event handler here is going to call the on submit event is going to call the handle submit event handler that we created here. Now here, when the input field is called, we want it to have the error. So the error dot full name, because here we created empty list of, we had the initial state where everything is empty, and then we now have all of the errors, and the new errors that we have here, we have an empty dictionary there for the errors. So we store all of this error in a state, and then here I just call each of the error name, errors dot full name, error dot email. So if there's any error, it should display the error. If not, it should see this as is valid, and this is the CSS is valid is there, it means it's valid. And we're using Bootstrap 5. If you refer back to your earlier lessons of Bootstrap, you will understand what this class attribute value is valid means. And then we did that for all of the form fields. Now I'm going to show you something about these handlers that we use. We have the submit handler that when you submit, it tells us registration successful. But what if we have a radio button or we have a reset button? This is no longer going to work, and we're going to look at that as we go. Let's try this and see if this works first, and then we're going to come back and see the other type of form fields that we have and what can happen where this unchanged e.target cannot handle this anymore. So we'll come to our web page. Before we go to our web page, we'll start npm run dev, and then we go to the web page and we have it here. So we have this form. So let's try to click register. Our validation errors are working well. So I'll put the full name, the email, the ID. Let me try to put 3 digits and see what will happen. The program, and then the password, confirm password. Let's register. We still have this because it must be 5 digits. And let's try to register again. And we still have this. It must be in the format STU. So we'll see what it is that we need to do. So let's come back here and let's see why we have the error for the student ID. So the student ID must be in this format. We have if the student ID is not empty, and we try to match this to STU, we have 5 digits after this. So we want it to be student ID must be in the format this. Okay, let's see, this might be redundant. Let me just take this away and let's use if here. Let's see if this will work. So the student ID here. Let's see if we have the spellings right. So class name, text, name is student ID, and change, handle change. Okay, alright, so let's refresh this and do that again. So when I do this, everything is invalid, and I'll reset and I'll start and click on register, and I have no error. So let's look at this if we have errors here. So now I clicked on the register button and we don't have that working. So you see the side effect of using the autocomplete. So let's come back here. We said it should handle submit, and here I put return here. So everything after the return will not work. Alright, so everything after a return statement will not work. So I can put the return here if I want to. So everything that comes after a return statement does not work. So you always have to take note, and so say registration successful, it clears. Alright, so that's all we want to see. Now we've seen that this works correctly, but there is something else that we did not take note of. We don't have any radio button checkbox, and we can't really see effects of the handle change. This handle change will work well with our text type. It will work well with maybe if we have a selecting one option. But when we have something like the checkbox or the radio, we can no longer use the handle change. And let's try that. So here we have this. Let's say before this close, I have a checkbox. So let's have, and I'll close div. And I want this to be, let's say, a checkbox, and let's say it's terms of service, and you agree to the terms. Now, when this is checked, how do we handle this? Because we handle this slightly different. Because let's do another one for, let's say, reset, and we're going to handle reset just to reverse to the initial values, something like that. So let's have a radio button too, so we can try radio button also. So close div, and let's say I want to use a radio button. Let's say we want a notification. We want the value to be email. and so the user will use handle option change to handle email notification. So we'll select if you want email notification or you want phone notification. So let's make these two options. So we'll say on change, handle option change. Let's have when it's checked, let's say checked form that auto. So name, have a second option for this. I'll just put a horizontal row, and let's see if we want SMS notification like that, SMS. So we have two radio options. Let's look at so you want to agree to terms and condition, and you choose one of these two notification, either SMS notification or email notification. All right, so this handle option change, let's change this one. It's going to be handle option change. We know that this doesn't come from e.target.value like this, but because we are using a check box which also works for radio buttons, we'll have the name, the value, the type checked. So we'll have this: if the type is equal to checkbox checked, then if the type is equal to checkbox, then you use checked. If not, we use value. So we can do this like this, or we can just use this to handle change like this, just one handle change, and then we can use the handle change without having to do twice. I think this is more correct. And so when we come here, we just handle change directly. Let's see. So here we handle change, so we can use one option directly. So let's see if it works here. Yeah, so it will work here. So one of the two options. All right, so this is what we do. Now if we want to have a reset button, for the reset button, you always want to make sure that you use the type of button to avoid triggering the on submit here. So let's say we want to have a reset button before the register here, and let me say button type is equal to, so we want to make sure that the type of the button is button, and then let me have an on click event, and we'll create an event handler that we'll call handle reset, and I'll put here, let's do that like that, and then let's create handle reset here, and we'll just set the form data back to the initial state and set the errors back to initial, something like that. And so let's try this here and see that it works. Let me put my full name, email, student ID, program, confirm password. I'll put something wrong. Let's see if it works. Agree, email, register, registration successful. It clears. Okay, so I did not make this clear, but you can actually follow and do that where we reset everything to the default. If you click on reset here, we want to reset everything because I just added this, so it was not part of the initial values that we set. So you can use the reset to reset everything back. So you have an idea of how to do this. We looked at the prevent default that stops the browser from reloading the page when you submit. So the default behavior will be stopped, and that's what we use the prevent defaults to do. And when we have this prevent default behaviors, then when we have the handle submit here, we prevent default, and that's what we do with that. When we have this spread operator with previous that we have here, what we are doing here is copy all the previous fields value before overwriting the change one, and the computed property, this name here, let one handler update any field using the input name attribute. That's what that means. And we use the single state object when we use useState here. So we use one state for all fields and one handle change for all input here that we did. So you see how I use this to handle both checkbox and radio buttons, and all this will only handle for input type of text or input fields because it gets its value from e.target.value, while this gets its value from e.target.checked. So this is where we end this lesson. Thank you and see you in the next lesson.